Oh, this is game named Class War. It's a prototype about the fight of the bureaucrat players against the proletarian players, about the class conscious. It's usually for 4 players, but we will play duel, one proletarian against one bourgeois player. So we can start.
Okay, so I'll be going once again step by step. First, we have the game consists of 7 phases, as you can remember, and we start from political phase, in which I, as bourgeois, I send one of these 4 active laws to the king. He'll decide as shown on this crown, and this law will be either it'll be allowed in country, I don't remember the word, or it will be discarded. Right now I have.
And only bourgeois players choose now?
Yeah. Right now, so as we can see here, bourgeois players vote on which policy card to consider,
Okay,
but
okay.
policy cards are considered according to monarchy.
Yes.
So yeah.
Because it
Monarchs don't give a crap about proletariat. So land tax is actually very great at the beginning of the game because it lets you take out nobility quickly. So I'll take it. Okay, now move to labor phase. In labor phase, all
and
workers
one
produce
question, estate and incluser X are already active?
Yeah, there are like game beginner laws which are always active. So in labor phase, all workers own property cards like factories. They produce resources. So as you can see here, in this right corner of the card, shows how many workers you need and how many resources it produces. So commons, which are basically fields, they need 2 workers called peasants, and they produce 3 resources. Those resources are basically money. They're also like food, commodities, everything you need to live and prosper and to build different things. So each of those guys produces 3 coins. That is a very long step and it is usually skipped, but for the first time I'll do it as it should. So all of them have produced some resources. Now, well, that was labor phase and production phase. Actually, when bourgeois players will have, well, only me, I will have some properties of mine. I will create work places or like I'll bid on labor market. I'll create some amount of places with salary, which I will set, and workers from here will go to the labor market, take works which they like the most, so
Yeah,
with high salaries.
yes, I read that.
Yeah, and proletarian player breaks the dice, so if I'll have like 3 workplaces but only 2 workers, he'll choose which ones they go to. And I'll be able to send them to work somewhere, and in production phase they will produce. We have only peasants now. They are staying on the fields. They're working there always, and so we have no workers to only to go to the labor market. We have no properties, so it is basically skipped. Next, we have commodity phase. In commodity phase, everyone has some property can go to the commodity market and put some of of their money here. That's basically stocks. So you can put some money in, and it can either increase, decrease. Like, nothing can change, but it will decrease more than increase, more than decrease. Yeah.
And can I have
So
some property or no?
no, neither of us has any property in the beginning, so in the first turn this step can be skipped. And if no one does any stocks, the discard is returned to the deck, and the deck is shuffled. It's not really a thing we should give. We should skip it.
Yeah.
So next we have expenses phase. It's all the bills, all the loans, all the rents, everything is paid right now. So this guys, this 3.
Yes. 3 nobles.
I need to go for 1 minute. Can you pause, please?
Okay. I am sometimes testing games for Ion Game Design, and I made many videos on
Yeah,
TTS.
I really like this game. It's like one of my favorite tabletop games. It's really great. It's fantastically well made, and I love almost everything in it. I don't like some things, but I'll tell a bit later about it. So we can continue now.
Yes.
So, are you recording?
Yes.
Okay, so as I was saying, in this phase are all the expenses. Actually, I'll open the page. There is the list of how and when it should happen. It's better to keep it on because it's part of the rules which is hard to remember, at least for me. Oh, here it is. So at first we have rent. So these 3 marvelous noblemen, they're controlling the land. All of this land, and all of this land, which is commons, should pay taxes. Churches don't pay taxes because that would be blasphemy. So we take 1 coin from all of those farms and give it to the noble. Boom, boom.
And the number
This
of
is the rent they.
And the number of nobles doesn't matter.
Yeah. So it doesn't matter how many nobles you have. They're just people who own the land. So that's the rent they've collected. Next, move on to IP, which is intellectual payment. It sticks with this innovation, but we don't have any innovations yet, so we don't count it. Next, legislation. Legislation is you can lawsuit your opponent, and they'll have to pay money to break it, or they won't be able to work their property. But we don't have it right now either. Next, we have loans. Loans are here. You can take them to get money quick, but you'll have to repay more money later. We don't have any loans either. Then tax. We have actually 2 taxes. We have an estate tax and a land tax. They're played like usually from left to right, but if a few taxes they oppose each other, there's a rule section for it. I'll open it because I don't remember it clearly. So first we have estate tax. For each 3 coins they've earned from rents, so earned this turn, which is these coins, they pay 1 into the taxes. So here they earned 7, so it's 2 coins for each 3. Divide by 3, round down. And next tax is land tax, where they pay 1 coin for any 2 deeds they own. They own 10 deeds because they own all land, and they have 10 land, which is 10 deeds. So they pay 5 more money to taxes. So basically, they have no income. They've paid everything taxes.
And the
Okay, next thing.
and the deeds are considered to be owned by the players now.
They can be owned by players, so you have this clearance law. If you approve it and it is working, then you can buy deeds. You can buy deeds there in this deck, and you'll pay to rents to buy those deeds from landowners. But right now, you can't do it because land right now is only for nobles. So,
No, and I think the wording says collect from players, and no players has anything, so no payment is paid.
for this one thing, actually nobles are counted as players who are controlling deeds for this one thing.
Okay.
So you are collecting, well, I think it was somewhere here. So, pum, 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 pum. Oh, so yeah, so nobles are considered, the rent surplus is considered to be the owner of all deed cards. And so this particular law is collecting money from noblemen too. But I haven't actually called authors for it. We all played like this is how it works, but I'll ask it.
Yeah,
Right now, this is how it. Well, we've been playing like it for a long time.
Okay, but it can maybe written better in some place.
Yeah, that's a very. Oh, yes. So you see, if the rent surplus still owns any deeds, it makes tax payment. So it actually states that it pays. Yes. So,
that's yes. I did not see.
This is how it works. Yeah. Now we have tithe payment. Tithe payment is charge payment. You take, if there are money in rents, you take one coin and put it on charge. This is an expenses phase. This usually goes faster, but I'm explaining everything. Reproduction phase. In reproduction phase, each person should eat. Peasants eat coins from their farms, which are left there. There are 2 coins, 2 farmers, so everyone's well fed. And each meeple needs to eat 1 coin, so they're well fed. This is me, I also eat 1 coin. Nobles, they're kind of interesting. They should eat 2 coins, but they eat 1 coin in reproduction phase and 1 more coin in action phase. So right now they're eating 3 coins, and they're okay. If in the end of reproduction phase we have new people, because our country size grows. If we would happen to have any extra coins on wages, we would have 2 extra people. So if workers are wealthy and have extra money, they will grow in amounts faster. Now go to action phase. Action phase is actually where all the fun outside of the game is a politics phase is. So the first player is a chair. Chair is always a bourgeoisie at first, but it will be passed down to, like, in circles. In our case, 1 turn to be me, 1 turn to be you. So I can make 1 action plus my special meeple, can make 1 investment action or money action. I call it money action, but it's called some. It has a fancy name, but I call it money action. So, but before it, our nobles need to eat more food, so they can eat only 2 coins. It is not enough for 1 noble,
and so he becomes a proletariat because he don't have enough food. Now, as for my actions, I can do a few things. I can do actually a lot of things. All of those things are listed in the end of the rules. Actions. So I can stratify, which means I can take one worker and make him into a bureaucrat, soldier, scientist, or priest, and he'll do different things for me. I can pay one coin to look under any deck, first card under any deck. I can do it to know which policies will be enacted. I can know it for how the stock market will grow. This can actually be useful. I can know what will I get from the colonies, and etc., etc., etc. Like what science we get.
Yes.
Yeah. So then we have proletarian actions. There's a bunch of different actions which you can do as class consciousness rises. The first basic action is increase one. That's action which he can always do. So now any player action, their investment action, which is basically buying different things. There is political action, which is placing lobby tokens, displacing them and making different things with it, and also lowering class consciousness. It is used to enforce some laws and to decrease class consciousness, as I stated before. Legal actions are all with giving lawsuits to your opponents with legislation tokens. Capital actions are what I call money actions, and they're made to take loans, pay off loans, donate, like give your money to somebody else if you need to, sell property, auction property, and yeah, there are also some bonus actions which are not in any of those actions. For example, Enclosure Act lets us make an enclosure action. It is not considered any type of actions I listed above. They're the separate action on its own, and I can do one action a turn. So as for my first action, I wish to make a bureaucrat from a worker. That's a stratify action. Now I can make an investment action, or I can make a capital, or as I call it, money action. I don't have any property to sell. Oh, about property. If bourgeois player loses all their property, they lose. All bourgeois players have this ownership share cut in the beginning, so they don't lose when they begin the game because they have a property. But they can lose it, and they probably will as the game progresses. So if they lose everything else, they will lose. I don't think I can do anything else right now because I don't have enough money and there is no rents, so I can take a loan. And yeah, I'm passing my action. So it's your turn.
And my money is here on wages.
Yeah, it's your money. You currently have not. For the first turn, usually all the communist player can do is protest, raising class awareness,
Yes,
class consciousness. I'm sorry.
probably.
Usually that's the only thing he can do.
Yes, I will.
You just press a key you want to set it on. Okay. Also, I forgot about one thing. When I become a chair, we have +1 of this innovation track because I am industrial. I'm Ford, an industrial corporation. It's cheaper for me to industrialize, so I have more science. When I become a chair, we have science. I'm about science and introducing it to the people, and also decreasing unions and paying people to don't be communists. Okay, so it's the end of our turn. We pass chair to the next player, and it's political phase once again. Now, previously, I've introduced only one new law, but right now we have a bureaucrat, and bureaucrats have two interesting things. First is they give all bourgeois players +1 action, or if they are communists, they give communist player +1 action. And in political phase, for each bureaucrat, you need to send to the king to approve one more law. So I'll be sending 2 laws right now. I will send the patent law. King will refuse it, so it will go to this card. Oh, it's great. And I'll send the central bank. King will approve it, as shown here. And that's really great because now I'll be able to take loans. Because central bank lets you take loans not only from rents, but from taxes. And as you see, we have a lot of money in taxes, but zero money in rents. Yeah, so it's very great for me because loans in the beginning are power. Now it is labor phase. We have one guy who we can give job to, but I don't have any property yet, so I don't wish to give him any wages, and he don't go into working anywhere. He will die from not being able to eat, and this will increase class consciousness, but I'm really short on money in the beginning, and it's not like I really can do anything right now to stop it. So we move to production phase. I'll skip this giving all of them 1 coin. I'll just take 7 coins and put it next to them because it's just faster this way. So now it's commodity phase. No one has any property. Expenses phase. These guys collect rent. Then they pay taxes. Taxes, as we remember, are all their rent. So now they can't pay tithe because they don't have any money. So tithe is not paid and church gets nothing. And it's actually bad for you because as a religious communist, you can once per game liquidate the church property and get all the money into the wage surplus, which is great because you can get a lot of money. But if it continues as it is, so rents have no money left, church gets nothing, and it's bad for you because your once per game ability becomes weaker. Okay, that was expenses phase. Now we move to reproduction phase. All of those guys ate their money. I give 1 coin to reproduce. These guys can't reproduce, so they become proletarians. I will flip them so we don't mistake this guy from this guys. This guy eats 1 coin from taxes, and this guy he can't eat anything, so he dies. These guys are not dead because when you become proletarian, you don't need to eat in this very turn. It's like they've given all their money just to feed themselves. Right now they have nothing, but they're well fed. Me. Okay, now we move to action phase. Because one person has died, people don't like that, and so class consciousness rises by 1. Right now it's communist turn, and you can take your action.
And we are adding 1 black proletarian.
Oh yeah, 1 black proletarian. I sometimes forget about it. I'm sorry. So we have 3 people. I need to find workspace for them. It'll be hard.
Okay.
Oh, and also one more thing I forgot. We have no more nobles right now. So we don't have monarchy. And we are moving to the bourgeois republic. And so bourgeois republic states that bourgeois players vote on which policy cards to consider and how to resolve them. But each may bribe 1 coin to the taxes surplus per additional vote. So you are still not incorporated in voting, but right now I don't need to think about what king will think about laws. I can just introduce them as I wish.
I have the few political power right now.
Full, yeah. English is hard.
Okay, so the action phase.
Yeah, it's action phase. It's your action.
What you did? Oh, I start, or it is.
You can't load it because I don't have. Oh, actually, you can load it to decrease innovation 1 step. I believe it's 1 step, but I'll check. So you can load it to lower industrialism by an amount equal to the number of bourgeois players at the start of the game. So you can load it to lower industrialization by 1, if you wish.
Or I can change my guys to it. It's probably not so important right now. So I will lower it.
Okay. Oh. I'm sorry. No one saw that. Okay, so we move it to 9. 9 is equal to 0 because like 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9. Okay, so that was your action. Now my action, what will it be? First off, I am now able to take loans from taxes. I'll use my bonus money action from myself to take a subprime loan. I can't take a prime loan because to take it, I need to discard a loan card from my hand, and to discard a loan card from my hand, I need to pay off at least 1 loan first, and when I pay it off, I take it into my hand. So as it states, I need to pay off. If I pay it off, I take it to my hand. I can take from 1 to 4 coins, and it will have interest of 2 coins. I'll take 4 coins from taxes surplus. 3, 4. I have 8 coins now, and I put this die right here, which shows that I need to pay 6 coins. And I will be paying 1 coin each turn until I pay it off by an money action, or until I just pay it off in 6 turns. Then I'll make action granted to me by this little business partner of mine. I will build a mill here for 6 coins. They are removed from the game. Well, not from the game, from the board. And I am controlling it, so I put my marker on it. Right now, I have property, so I'll be able to send people there, and I'll be able to get money from it. That's my first real money income. And as you can see, we don't have any monarchy. That means nobody will collect any rent from any of those farmers, and they'll be thriving, eating 1.5 money each, so living basically better than the bourgeois is. And I'll pay no rent for my beautiful small mill. As for my last action, granted just for me playing, I will think a bit, and I will probably make another bureaucrat. Yeah, I'm done. One. Let's political phase again, and I not
Yeah,
consider
you
3
increase
laws, but
your increase industry.
yeah, and we get 1 industry because I am 4th. Yeah, thank you for reminding. I'll introduce public schools first. It lets me pay off scientists or intelligentsia, they're called here, from taxes surplus, because as you can see, each meeple type is covered from the surplus parallel to it, but these 2 meeple classes, they don't have this point connecting to them, and so they are not being paid off taxes, and bourgeois or proletarian player needs to pay for them from their hand, or they'll become proletarian. This law basically draws a little bit longer up to here. Okay, Bill of Rights. I don't need it. We already have bourgeois republic. I'll introduce freedom of speech to show to our people how good it is when they're living in bourgeois republic, because now they can speak freely. So I can't block protest action by soldiers. Soldiers in this game, they work like policemen, so they'll be able to block different actions by interfering. And this law makes it that I can't block protest action by soldiers. The thing is, we have this little thing over here, which is how people think about this law. And if I introduce law which people like, and I don't introduce it, so basically if I would revoke it and put it into discard, people would increase their class consciousness. But I don't want it, so I'm giving people what they want, basically. Yeah. So next thing I wish to have is Academy of Science. I introduce it. It increases innovation 1 step further, and I can roll to innovate. Rolling to innovate means that I roll this 8-sided die, and if I roll, well, I just wanted to show it, yeah. And if I roll below 2 or below, I innovate. I rolled a 2. I'm very lucky, and so I innovate. I reduce it to 0, and I draw an innovation card, and it's a crisis. It's an industrial accident. So I have to roll a d10. The game doesn't have any d10 in it, so it's very bad. I have to spawn a d10. Don't look at here. I'm making some bad admin things which we need to continue playing. So I roll a d10. We have 2. Once again, I'm good at rolling 2s. So I place a toxic token on the rolled land slot, and this is very bad because we have environmental disaster which begins. Where is it? Oh, here it is. So we have a toxic outbreak from farms. There are too many cows. Without any nobles looking for those cows, there are too many of them, and now they're terrorizing people. That's the only industrial problem we can have right now, because we are medieval people who only have cows, maybe some sheep. So all property with or adjacent to the toxic token produced 1 coin less. And we right now have the cleanup action. We can consume, so pay 1 coin and flip this card after this action was done 6 times. That is bad, because I probably will be the only one who will need to clean up everything. It happened that my beautiful little mill is right next to this cartridge, and it is suffering from it. And that's very bad.
That's good.
That's very bad, because I'll be getting basically no profit, but I'll still be self-sufficient. I can live with that. Okay, so we're moving to the labor phase. I'm very not satisfied. And anyway, we move to the labor phase.
We are rolling for that additional crisis or not?
I don't like rolling for it when first crisis pop up, because if it pops up, then usually bourgeoisie always lose, because they can't deal with 2 crises when they have 2 money in their pocket. It's impossible. It just ruins everything. Well, you can roll it if you want. You can roll it. Yeah. As the rule states, you should roll it. So please roll it, but don't roll a 1. I beg you, don't roll a 1. Yeah, you didn't roll a 1, so I'm a bit more safer right now. So labor phase. We have 2 workers. I have 2 workspaces. I have 2 coins. So I create 2 workspaces, 1 coin each, and those people they always choose working over not working. So they'll go to these workspaces. I'll put them in my beautiful little mill, and those coins, they go to wages.
Yes.
Then we have production phase. So these people are producing and eating their food themselves, so I won't be placing it. I get 4 money, 5 minus 1 because of car outrage. I get 4 money. I'm getting at least something. So I've paid 2 to get 4, so I'm plus 2 coins, which is bad because I could be plus 3 coins.
And the commons are producing 3, and the extra coin is
they eat it all. No, they eat it all. So they eat all 3 coins. Okay. As I said, they are living very good because now they have more food. Yeah. Okay, commodity market.
More nuclear food.
Yeah, more nuclear food is very good. Well, it's not nuclear. It's cow food. It's not nuclear. We don't have any nuclear power right now. We are too stupid for it. So I'll place 1 coin on commodity market, and I'm flipping. Yes, I'm doubling my amount of coins, so I'm getting 1 more coin. I'm happy now because I've got as much as I've intended, so everything is good. But as you see in capitalistic world, as you intended, it's not usually as it works. Right now, I still get 3 coins, but not because everything is as smooth as we would like, but because everything is so strange that I still get it from some shenanigans on stock market. Yeah, that's how it works. That's why I like the British always happen. Expenses phase. No one collects the rent, so no one collects the taxes. And we'll probably run into some kind of tax problem soon. But right now oh no, I have to pay. Oh, I have to pay a loan, so I'm paying to rents. Still, it's no taxes because we have no landowners. But this 1 coins it goes to the church because of tithe. No other things are being paid
And
because
you
we
pay
don't.
the loans by 1 coin each time?
Yeah, I've paid it, and it went to the tithe immediately. So there are now 2 coins from church. See, 2 coins. Now the reproduction phase. They all eat their food. Those people, they return here. I eat 1 coin. These guys eat 2 coins. These guys eat 2 coins. Everyone is happy and continues living, and we have a new guy over here. Now it is. I haven't forgotten. Yeah, I have forgotten nothing. Now it's action phase. It is my turn. I have 3 actions plus my plus 1 me action, which is a bit worse than usual action, but it's still okay. I'll probably take another loan with my money action. Take 1 more loan because I need money. It's not the thing I have. So now I'll buy off 1 commons for the price of 2. It goes to rents.
Okay.
I'll buy this because it's as far away as it can be from this cow disaster. Yeah. So enclosure is a bit upgrade farm because it needs only 1 worker and it still gives you 3 coins. So bourgeoisie farm are just better than usual farms. And as you can see, those peasants who were working here, they are now proletarians because they're now free to go and die from starvation because we don't have enough work spaces for them. Hooray! Praise the capitalism. That's my this and usual action. I have 2 more actions from bureaucrats. I'll probably make scientists just to make sure we have enough science pumping in. Scientists, they each turn give you 1 innovation and roll to innovate, so they're great. If you have multiple scientists, you get multiple innovation, but you roll only once still, so you should probably have at least 1 scientist. Okay, I have 4 people, 3 will work here, and I have 1 free. I have overpaying rents, so I will make myself a little clergy. Now, what does a clergy or priest, how I call them, do? When action phase begins, they lower class consciousness by 1. But I'm actually being a bit risky here because my enemy is a Catholic worker communist and he has interestability. He can, on 6 class consciousness, re-educate clergy and they will give +1 class consciousness each turn. Which is bad, so I try not leading to this 6 class consciousness and hope everything will be okay. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I've made all my 4 actions. Now it's a communist turn.
Yes. And when the communist dice is rolled?
So when you make a unionist action, you turn this black people into red communist people, and those red communist people each turn create 1 increase value of this die by 1. When you get 8 on this die, you get a card. So right now it's counted 0. If you'll have 1 communist, then next turn you'll have 1, then 2, and when you get 8, you draw a card. Those cards are like bonus action, like it can be a protest action, so including class consciousness. It can be as looted action, breaking few innovations. It can be a kill action where you can kill any meeple. It can be money support when you get money, a bit of money into your wages, like from the outside the border. People who don't like our great capitalist country and want to break it by making communist revolt against their vice leader, who keeps an eye on that nobody dies from starvation and everything is great. Yeah. Different things. But they're always good for the communists. Always. Okay.
So my
Your
action. So I increase my conscious to
I can't even do anything because you have freedom of speech, so you can say whatever you want. But I have my own speakers now who will speak for me. Oh, yeah, we forgot about the rule that if you, when you draw a crisis, you increase, so you had 3 and you can make a strike. I forgot about that. We totally forgot. You can make a strike if you want. So if you make a strike, one of my properties, I won't be able to work one of my properties, and as long as I don't have a soldier who will go and disband the strike, or the communist player will willingly disband the strike, I won't be able to work in there. So he's blocking my mill. I won't be able to get money from there, which is bad, but I can probably live with that because I have this enclosure as a backup. But that's still hard. That stinks. It's very bad because people will die from starvation. Do you really want people to die from starvation? I've tried to build a perfect ecosystem where everyone has a place to work, and you're ruining it. How can you? People will die because I won't be giving extra money just to save them. I don't have extra money. I have just 5 money. It's very small amount.
They need to sacrifice for the communism.
They're not even communists. You're sacrificing just people who live there. Communism is always bad. They make people suffer. They make people die. They make sacrifices. It's very bad. And capitalism gives you a place where you work for minimal wage, but you survive. And nothing changed for a long time. And I grow my pile of coins larger and larger. Okay, so that's the end of our action phase. I give you are a chair now. It is a political phase.
And what is the protest action?
Which action?
The
protest is free speech means I can't block protest action by soldiers.
Okay. Oh, this one. Okay.
Yeah, soldiers can block. They can block your actions, and I can't block your protest action. So you can always protest, but I might, for example, don't let you make a strike. But you'll be able to protest anyway. Okay, so now what I wish to do is probably I wish to introduce standing army. I wish to introduce colonialism. Colonialism is good. I don't wish to introduce that. I don't wish to introduce that. That will not be introduced, at least right now. Okay, so colonialism. What does it do?
And can I have any chance to affect
Well,
policies?
there are actually cards which can let you change politics. There are government types. For example, we can have bourgeois democracy, where you can also all players, so communists too, are in here and also can consider policies. There are some crises which events, crises, anything which will let you recruit soldiers, and soldiers can basically storm the government and make them sign different non-great papers to make it to give all power to the Soviets. But I don't
Or
want
can
that.
make
But
a
yeah, so
political action and make a lobby.
yeah, so you have quite a choice of how to make it. Actually, if you really wish to make things with laws, there are a communist faction called Socialist Party, and it makes different things with lobbying, introducing, like changing how the voting goes on, and yeah. So they are the ones who do all the politics. Okay, so it's third law which I'll introduce. I will introduce. I am a madman. I am introducing property tax. I'm doing it actually because I'll need those people. I'll need to pay for them anyway. But if I introduce this tax, then nobody will dislike it. I'll be giving them money anyway. So if I give them money in a legitimate way, I won't have to discard this law to go further, because you can't get further into law deck if you don't make something with law on top. So by approving it, I'm clearing myself path and basically not changing anything. But it can backfire later. It can backfire later, but usually it doesn't. Usually. Okay, so now it's labor phase. I'll be hiring only one guy because I have only one workspace. This guy goes here. This money goes here. Production phase. These guys eat for themselves. I get 3 coins. 4 pounds. I'm sorry, for enclosure. And commodity phase. So as you see, one positive card has been drawn. So right now this deck has smaller chance of having positive exchange rate cards, but it still has a little bit higher chance of having good cards, so I will draw it. And we have a crisis.
Yeah.
Okay. It is okay. I am losing all of them. So each player loses all of their money in the commodity market, and we put deflation spiral event into play. Deflation spiral, liquidation costs no money, flips the card when amount of new loan principal of at least equal to twice the amount of players has been taken out. So to fix this crisis, I basically need to take a loan. But we also have this die. Roll, please. Don't roll it 2. I'm very good at rolling 2s. Oh, you rolled 6. You're great. Continue as you're doing. You're doing great. So
And the crises are more wars for everyone or for the bourgeois?
Well, it's for bourgeoisies. It's not bad for you because you don't have any cards which you can liquidate anyway. And it's actually one of the weakest crises which we have. It is relatively simple to fix, and it doesn't have any very bad consequences of being active, like radioactive waste even is worse because it gives me less money just overall, no matter what I do. And this only if I sell property. And I won't be doing that soon.
Liquidation is selling.
Yeah, it's basically selling. So it is not selling because you're like dismantling the factory, selling what is like the any workshops and spaces like that, like workbenches. So you're liquidating it and selling what is left, as it states in the rules. Okay, so that was commodity phase, now expenses phase. I have to pay loans, I have to pay taxes, I'm very low money. That's okay. I have a plan. A good plan. Yeah, this guy goes here. I've paid 2 money to rents. That's not enough for them to pay taxes. I've paid my taxes. No bum bum. Tithe. And that's all. Okay, now it's reproduction phase. Bloom. Okay, I eat 1 coin. That's bad that I have only 2 coins left, but yeah, that's very bad. And liquidation holds no money. Oh, but so as you see, we have colonialism now, and colonialism will save me. So what colonialisms do? It lets you buy this beautiful thing called stock, and stock lets you get money from drowning colonies. Also, what stock lets you do is getting money into the taxes surplus, so I didn't have to introduce property tax, but hopefully I will be able to live with it. And that was actually a mistake because I have colonialism and I just. But colonies have one problem. Say sometimes increased class consciousness because people don't like that we are having communists, which we are. Which we are using to get money in really no way. And the things like slave revolts or world war because of colonies, which is not good, but hopefully I'll get it not soon. Hopefully. Very hopefully. Okay. So reproduction. I've paid. This guy paid. Those guys didn't pay. So bam. 1, 2, 3 coins from these guys and 1 coin from these guys. Sadly, 2 people die because they have no place. They have no food because somebody made a strike, and we have 1 newcomer, and the class consciousness increases, and it is bad because you are very close to this re-education, and we have this clergy, which is bad. But now we step into the action phase, and what happens? Clergy decreases class consciousness by 1, which is good. Scientist makes 1 innovation and makes roll for innovation. And I've rolled 7, which is not smaller than 1. We have 2 bureaucrats that give me actions, 2 workers they work. Yeah, it is your turn. Class consciousness is 4. You can strike, you can loot it, you can unionize, you can protest, and you can make character action. Your character action is, if I'm not mistaken, is building a commune.
I see, but I cannot do it.
And commune is honestly a pretty bad building because it's like commons, but it can also be it can be industrialized. industrialization is, I remind you, it's working like a worker. So it's a machine that works like a worker, and it also increases yield, money yield from the workplace by 1. So I've built this mill because it has innovation, and all innovation is cheaper for me by 1. It's very cheap for me. Okay.
Yeah, my
Anyway, what is your action?
actions. I have one action.
Yeah, you have one action.
Let's make right.
Okay, so you made a strike. You probably hope to get something from it, but I will assure you that no strikes will work while it is my turn. I make a soldier, and this soldier will go and smash that strike. He'll that removes soldier, right? Soldier meeples, so political violence, TTS, strike break that kills soldier. So you 1 second. Okay, so I kill both meeple and a strike. Nobody is angry because it's a soldier dying in his line of duty, protecting his glorious country. Okay, that was my first action. My second action would be buying colony A stock for 2 coins. That is my second action. Investment action from this guy. I have 2 more action. First will be drawing a.
And
Why?
And you can choose.
Why?
And you. Mm.
I don't know. This game is killing me. It's giving me all the crisis. Okay, roll please. Roll a 6. Roll a 6, please.
No.
Oh, I'm so dead. I'm just dead. Okay. So this thing is stock crash. So in share order, each player loses a title until an amount equal to twice the number of players have been lost. My only titles are my ownership share and a stock. Ownership share is just reduced from the game fully if it is lost, and stock goes back here. And I have no stocks now. And I put the bear market event into play. The bear market said, thank you. There was some lag. Bear market state that titles no longer collect money, liquidation no longer collect money, property adjacent to the toxic. My factories produce less money. At the start of every cycle, proletarian players may stratify a proletarian into a red soldier. It is not stated that this should be a red proletarian, so you can take any proletarian and make it a red soldier. And using this red soldier, you can make any kind of political repression, like introducing this thing if I wish to vote for it,
No,
making
it's
like
nice for
canceling my action and doing many other bad things. I am out of money, and I can just, and you have 6 because this also counts as a crisis. You have now 6 class consciousness, which is almost max. I have no money. I have strike on my factory, but I have still 1 action left. So what I can do is this action is taking a credit for 1 coin, which will let me make an enclosure. But from this enclosure, I will get 3 coins. I will just give them off for loans. And I won't be even able to pay my taxes. And I can't liquidate my property to get money because of deflation spiral. So I'm basically in. I basically can't do anything, and I lose next turn anyway. So that's an easy victory for you, because usually all of those things are somewhere in between or closer. Well, there's somewhere in the middle of the deck, not on top of it. So
Yeah, it's lucky for you.
congrats. Yeah, congrats on the victory for you.
It is interesting game mechanism. But
Yeah.
I think it
So-
work with more players.
Yeah, so if we have more players, then we have a few bourgeois players, and they will compete between each other also. They will cooperate but compete at the same time, because only one bourgeois player wins, the last one standing. And they will compete with each other, also help each other. So usually in the beginning, bourgeois players help each other, like they vote together on which laws to introduce. They might help each other by giving 1-2 coins. Like, let's in the first turn somebody can make a bureaucrat, another can give him coins so he don't starve to death buying businesses and themselves. And yeah, so I'm working myself. I have less people power, but I'm in total control. I have more. Well, I can choose to do whatever I want, but I also have less money. It is harder for me to deal with things, like it is very hard for me to deal with this thing, because to do with this thing I need a lot of money, 6 money and 6 actions, which is a ton. But if we have 3 bourgeois, each would have like 3 actions from 2 from bureaucrats, 1 for just being there, and 1 this action everyone could spend 2 action, which is like losing half their turn to clean up, paying 2 points, and it would be less devastating. So if you have only 1 player, it's very hard to clean up trash. Bear market is a very random thing. It can come up as well, if any event comes up in the beginning of the game, any crisis, and a bird trap activates, there usually is just no way for bourgeois players to escape. So the problem, so as I said, I see a few problems in game. I will can I say them right now?
What?
So as I was saying, that I see a few big problems in the game as it is now. Can I state them?
Okay.
So I'll say them. The first problem is crisis. They are great. They are making game fun by introducing all kinds of problems which bourgeois player needs to deal with, and it really makes it easier for communist player to win, because usually it is very hard for him to win. It's very hard planning because of bourgeois are always on top, and it's very hard for him. And crises are a random thing which helps him by making bourgeois weaker for some time. But what you've seen now is something which you call crisis snowballing, where you have crisis after crisis after crisis, and bourgeois just have not enough time to deal with crises they already have. Next crisis is occur, only making their situation worse, and eventually they just ran out of money because of crises, make them lose money, lose power, and everything. They just die out. Usually, you have 1 or 2 crises active in one time. A bourgeois player can deal with them or close them out in time, and it works. But sometimes crisis snowballing happens, like right now. And also this stock crash, if you draw one crisis in the beginning of a game, it is doable usually. You can, like, environmental disaster, I drew it, but I could still survive it, I could overcome it, and I could maybe even clean it up eventually, if other crises didn't pop up. But if we would have a stock crash in the beginning, then it would be really hard for me to do anything. And if there are players who rely on colonies or deeds to get their money, and they just lose all of it. Usually those players don't have many other businesses, so they just start losing money. There are usually not many money in taxation whatsoever, and they just can't get out of it, and they lose. So usually it's killing most of bourgeois player if two crises happen in the beginning of a game. That's the thing I don't like, this snowballing, because as for communist player, it feels bad because you've did almost nothing. You've played you've just made a few actions because bourgeois players have much bigger action capacity than a communist. Communist is one action, but it is usually strong, like killing meeple or making few meeples different color or breaking or making a strike. It's usually stronger than a capitalist action. And capitalists have more actions, but they are usually weaker, like buying a little property, like drawing a colony, moving one meeple, something like that. So they're usually weaker, but there are more of them. And
it can say whenever at least second crisis card is drawn, probably.
Yeah, and the really bad thing when you're playing communist and you have this crisis thing, then you just made a few actions. Like communist has more actions, but later in the game, if he is successful with converting bureaucrats to his side, it is hard, but it is doable, and he can have some soldiers and he can have power. But it is later in the game when he progresses, when he builds his little communist unions. He has his little cars, which are like, which can make little tricks. Like there can be strike fund, which lets you collect when there can be cases when you'll have a lot of money. For example, there's not enough workers for all the bureaucrats, and some of them give higher wages so that their property is being worked, and you have extra money in wages. So to protect it, you might want to make a strike fund, because nothing can make you pay from a strike fund, and you can use it. Next thing, you can have some free re-education actions, so you can re-educate one meeple anywhere, like a bureaucrat or a clergy, so it makes easier for you. You can have sabotage, so you can discard it, break 2-3 automation tokens. It is actually strong. Remember, there was one game where everyone relied strongly on innovation, and I've had a lot of, almost all workers were unions, and during the labor phase, I've discarded it when after the bids were made. I can do it after all the bids were made, but I can do it in time they're being made. So after some of them put higher wages and some slower, I put it in. I broke everything, and they were panicking. They were making irrational things like increasing wages, making more workspaces, because they were panicking because all of their factories broke up, and it was very great. There even a crisis when you have political repression, where you don't well, it's harder for bourgeoisie to make political decisions. There is terrorism, which lets you kill one meeple from here, but then you lose one consciousness because it's like you are a terrorist, you are bad. So, but it can be strong if everything relies on clergy or noble. Like if you rely on clergy to hold off consciousness, then killing it might strike really hard. Like if you are going last and no one can make action after you, playing it very strong. And actually, I don't remember. Probably you can play cards on any point in action phase, or even not in action phase. They can be played at any time. Not
Probably anytime.
Yeah, so you can play it at any time. So you can play it just before he decreases your consciousness. Like he comes out in his charge to make a speech to people about how communism is bad, and he has a big bomb thrown on his head, exploding, a lot of gore, blood, and everything, and people are screaming. And well, you lose one consciousness this turn anyway, but later they'll be thinking twice before introducing a new clergy. You can have banditry, where you just steal money from different
I think it
circles.
is not necessary to go through all cards.
Yeah, but well, you get the idea. They're great. They're cool. They're powerful. Yeah.
What I see as a maybe small problem for the communists, they have very little options on the start.
Yeah, that's the second problem which you wanted to talk about is
because I have nothing to do with the policies.
Yeah. So
you choose your wages if there is more bourgeois players, which I can participate only with red proletarians. So I think my actions grow with my conscience, but at the start I have my my decisions in all around was making one action, which was quite weak.
Yeah, quite weak. So the other thing which I don't like about communist is something that you stated, but I'll rephrase it a bit because I don't like that communist has only one action. It is a strong action, but he has only one action. When bourgeois can make a few things, a few small things at once, being more versatile, then a communist is non-versatile. He can make only one action, and usually to make a strong action like re-educate, you need to make a build-up, you need to stack a few cards, you need to make protests, make strikes, so that you can have the sixth consciousness to make a re-education, and you can fail while doing it. It's very hard to make one strong action. So communist is weak because he's non-versatile.
And the second small problem which I wrote before that, I think it's a bit problem that proletarian player is red, but also they are red meeples, which are not the same one. Like the proletarian player can have maybe different color, or I do not know how to solve it right now, but it's confusing.
I didn't understand you fully. Can you make a small repeat of what you meant?
On the Great War, the colors.
You can stratify.
The colors of the words are tied to its owners. And there is a red proletarian word. And there is also red.
I believe, I've played this game before, so when it was previous versions, a Great War actually stated that you can stratify a red proletarian into a red soldier. Right now, they've changed it so you can stratify a proletarian. So,
I am not talking directly about the Great War, about
also that
how the words with the colors are used, because the red color is used to two different things, which is a bit confusing.
well, the second thing is word red. So, well, but I understand. The most confusing thing for me is this multicolored words like titles. It's very confusing when you have this multicolored word because usually if you are used to this color palette, you know, like yellow is money, red is proletarians, and like blue is some middle class, and also other thing with which is bad with those wording because blue is industrial and well, industry science and the middle class. So it is harder to distinguish. You can't just give a look, see that it has something blue, and say like, aha, it is science, or aha, it is a middle class. And the same goes with yellow. So you have this clergy and nobles, but also you have money actions like colonies and everything.
Nice.
Same goes to red. You have proletarians and different things. Not many things, but yeah, like strikes and everything. And it's hard to distinguish. It would be much better if they had like different colors for different words. So I agree with you that it is rather bad. Like you can have
I think it's a
soldiers,
good approach, but it needs more tweaks to make it better.
Yeah, more tweaks. More tweaks. Well, it's a good idea, but it has a bad. It is made poorly.
But I like the game how it works with the working, paying, taxes, policies.
Yeah, the only well, this crisis thing for me is the worst of all because it just breaks the game really quick. It's usually just bourgeois lose not because a communist player defeated them, but because random, and that's really upsetting for both players. Like usually this doesn't happen, but sometimes this happens, and in usual duels, as I said, you have this communist who slowly builds up different things, and the bourgeois who builds up his empires and deals with problems as they come, because you don't, well, you have some, as I say, hidden crisis when, for example, you have no taxes left. So as you see, I had a lot of taxes, I've made a lot of people, but I had no tax income. So slowly, they've eaten up all the taxes. Well, I've also taken them, but they've eaten up all the taxes. And right now, I should do something, or all of my middle class infrastructure will just break and become proletarian, which is like a little crisis of itself. Or when you have for some reason many people die, for example, somebody made his special action, and so next turn you have really small amount of workers, and you need to think, do you need them because you have to give them higher wages because of other bourgeois players also want them. So it works like crisis, so it is very bad for you, and you need to fix it somehow, but it's not a crisis itself. So I like that your actions can actually lead to you having even bigger problems with crises, because for me, if all of this thing would go here, it would be much worse if I had this thing on. So yeah, well, the game is very interesting, especially in late game. in late game, it's very interesting. It has very cool things to do. Like you can lawsuit your opponents. You can use politics to make laws which will make it better for you, but worse for opponents. You can bribe the government to pass laws, like lobbying laws which you want to
it
introduce.
needs more getting quicker to that more options.
Yeah. So yeah, I also remember we had one long game, 4-player long game. We finished it, but it was a communist win by making a revolution and establishing a socialist republic. But before that, we had this long game where bourgeois were very rich, so they were like eating each other, like claiming chunks of the land, legitimating everything. Sometimes they even I was playing a communist, and sometimes I've made some deals with proletariat, with bourgeois, like I'll strike on your opponent's facilities, and you'll give me some money for it, so I can do something myself, because they were rich. They were sure that they will win, and I was slowly pulling different strings. Like I was playing wobblies. Okay, I won't be diving very deep to it, but it was very great. I had this vibe of slowly building up the whole game, and then at the end of game, I snapped everything into action, making a revolution and making socialist republic, and just slowly after that buying them of their money with taxes. It was really great, and they for the whole game they were building their business empires and eating each other, so that I could on the background rise and take the ownership of everything.
Yes.
It was just great. It was like the best game I've ever had, but
And
all the other games
how
were
long
also good.
how long it took for play
I believe it was like it is usually takes you 2-3 hours. It also depends on how proficient players are, because if players are very proficient, they usually just skip a lot of phases. Like in first turn, you do usually, if you don't have land tax, you political action, you skip all the action phase. You remove 2 rand, you put 1 worker, and you just skip all of them. And you
Yes.
skip a lot of actions to save time if players are really experienced. But yeah, the game is great. I love it. It gives you, it's kind of bad in the beginning, but as it progresses, it brings new opportunities like buying land, making colonies, like innovation, science, the whole thing with patents, different patents. Like you have more science, then you need to innovate everything, but you also have patents. So you can use different science to innovate your things. So you can have different. You also have different patents. You can fight over these patents. Like intellectual property is also a thing. And in one game, we had a lot of a lot of science going on, a lot of patents, and we had like this fight over patents where we were selling them to each other, or maybe forcing a player who has like the biggest patents to uh, like combining, because patents were giving the biggest amount of money, because almost all spaces were factories or mills. There were a lot of taxes, and science was a saying that gave you one. It was most profitable in the system we've built up. So it has. I can talk about what you can do in this game for hours, just hours
Yes.
straight. Yeah. So
And did you
yes.
play Hegemony board game?
So you've written about hegemony.
It
I've
was
googled it.
it was on a Kickstarter maybe 2 months ago. Hegemony, lead your clans
Yes,
to victory. You play as
I've haven't played it. I have Googled it up. I'm right now. I'm slowly reading the rules because usually I read the rules quite slowly, a few pages a day. But
It has many similar approaches like this, but there is one worker, one middle class, one owner, and one I do not remember the third one. But
middle class, high class, low class, government.
But we played it, and it turns to be quite ordinary Euro game with some tweaks and not too much of the theme, which I sense here.
Well, this game is no ordinary Euro game. It's something very.
I see here what was promised there, because we did not finish the hegemony game because we did not like it so much. It was quite same and not much decision. There was many tracks like how your colonial work, how your education is working, but you can shift it to left or right, but it didn't work so much, at least from my experience. But I liked this much more.
Yeah, I think we sometimes assemble this team. There are a few people, including me, who usually plays game, and I think we'll play it more. I hope with more people on board, so it'll be better. Oh, I like the duel actually. The duel is the duel game, and the 3-4 player game is drastically different because in a you have either as communist versus bourgeois or the whole system where bourgeois are teaming and fighting with each other all the time, and the bourgeois and proletarian player doing some things on the background. Yeah. So
yes. So
yeah.
Thanks for the game.
Thank you too. I hope the game would be longer, but Snowball